Welcome to the More Myself podcast, hosted by yours truly, Ashley Dorr. It feels weird to introduce myself by my name. I do not know why. I think low-key because I always wanted a more unique name, so maybe I'll just make up a name for myself. I did imagine having a name of a flower growing up. I used to call, when you go to a bagel shop or coffee shop, you give them your name, right? So there was this one bagel shop that I would always go to in high school. Noah's Bagels, downtown Manhattan Beach, shout out. I think the guy's name was Preston. He was hilarious. But I would always tell him my name was Petunia. And so at that Noah's Bagels, I was Petunia. Seems like a random flower name to go with, but, I was really into it. So needless to say, I'm super, super, super excited that you've decided to tune in and listen to me chit chat and yap. I wanted to introduce myself and sort of talk about what this podcast is, what it's going to be, at least what I think it's going to be. Things change and morph in their own way, and I am very much open to the malleability of telling stories, right? So, interestingly enough, you will hear in the next two podcasts the mention of a different name of the podcast, right? So this is actually was a huge lesson for me and ties directly in with my entire ethos. So I have been working very hard to become more authentic and to get to know myself, really deeply get to know what do I need, what do I want, what are my core desires, and not just get to know them, but figure out how to take action based on this knowledge, right? You can know a lot of stuff, but if you're not doing anything with the knowledge, then what's the point of having it? A lot of people have knowledge just to have knowledge, if that makes any sense. And I don't want to just become a glossary of information. I want to be able to synthesize the information that I learn. And I feel like we're going to do that here together via a podcast. So I originally had intended for the podcast to be called Regulated AF because the AF felt very millennial to me, and I am definitely a very proud millennial. But there was something about the fact that I wanted to base it on teaching about somatic practices that felt like a lot of pressure, right? So I am in a course right now getting certified in somatic trauma therapies, and I was really taken by what I was learning. And I was like, wow, this is all incredible information that I really want to share with other people. And I want other women, gay people, and, good men to understand, here are all the different things you can do with your body, with breathing, to be a more grounded human. And then I realized, it just wasn't flowing. The information wasn't flowing out of me. Do I love it and care deeply about it? Yeah, I do. But there was just something that had me stuck. I recorded a few episodes and I tried to do an intro, and it just for some reason, I was just dragging my ass. I could not get myself to launch it, to post it, to feel oh yeah, hell yeah, this gets the stamp of approval. So the other day I got this urge and knowing to go for a walk. So I put on my headphones and I went to my neighborhood to go on a walk. I'm so blessed to live in a place where my neighborhood is very beautiful to walk in. There's just a lot of trees and close to the beach. It's just a very expansive place to live. It's part of the reason why I'll probably never move. Every time I think about moving, I'm like, nah, never mind. But I say all that to get to the point of on this walk, just let my mind wander. It's like walks to me are a form of meditation, right? You're doing the bilateral movement by walking, but step, 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 which is great for rewiring neural pathways. That mixed with the sunshine. I am 100% a sunshine girl. If there is sunshine, my vibes are going to be way higher than if it's gloomy. And I know that about myself, so know thyself. I was on this walk, and it's just a message was sort of downloaded. The universe said, girl, please listen up. And I said, I am fucking listening with my ears, my heart, my soul. And it was just like this whisper of like, oh, you need to attach the podcast to Journal Club, because Journal Club is where your heart lies, and it's the umbrella under which you want to, work from. So I got that, and then I was like, okay, what about a name? Like, what do I call it? And someone said, go on ChatGPT. And of course I have my, AI is so divisive, right? Like, it is an incredible tool, but it's also like really bad for the environment. And I feel like it low-key takes away creativity, but then it also low-key makes creativity easier. I don't even want to get into AI right now, but I was on ChatGPT toiling away with some names and podcast names, and nothing really felt right. So I just said, okay, I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna let it sit and percolate. So later in this walk, I did that percolation earlier that day, maybe the day before, who knows. But during this walk, it just like boop popped into my head. And I said, oh my God, it's got to be more authenticity based, because this is what I've actually been seeing changes, in my own life. And I feel like I can share these moments with others, and it would make a lot more sense than me sharing somatic practices like out of the blue. And I realized I didn't want to teach per se. I wanted to share and have people take what they need and want from the sharing of not just my experience and stories, but the stories of people that I know and care about. So it just felt so aligned all of a sudden. And I was like, damn, is this what it feels like to be dancing with the universe and be in such flow that I am fully able to embody this idea, and not just have the idea, but to say, this is the idea and this is the one that I'm going to take and run with, because it feels so good deep in my soul. And as somebody who is a perfectionist and, an overthinker, I often get stuck in the phase where you do all the research, but there's nothing to do. Like, I don't pass the research phase, right? I do the research, I get all the knowledge, and I'm like, okay, now what? And this was one of the first times that I really felt like, okay, I've done the research. I am prepared. There is nothing more I need to do than to just do the thing. Ashley, practice what you preach. So here I am practicing what I preach, being vulnerable and open with everybody, and just sharing a little bit about how the heck we got here. So, like a vision, I refer to this higher power as the universe. You may refer to this higher power as God or spirit or the great unknown. Whatever you refer to it as, in my understanding, is the same as saying the universe, right? That is the power that is bigger than me, that I know that I need to submit to and work with and dance with and be in alignment with to live a happy and fulfilled life, right? So interchange whatever word you want for universe. For me, it's universe. For a lot of people, it's God. And that's totally okay too. But I really feel like the universe wants to use me as a tool in helping people, specifically queers and women. That's really where my true heart lies, is in making the lives of women and femme presenting people much safer and softer. I feel like as women, we have really end-to-end queer people. And when I say women, it's women with a women X, right? So women umbrella. If you identify as a woman, you are included in this. So I really feel like women have been conditioned to be hardened by society, by ourselves, by other women, by our mothers and our mothers' mothers. We've lost the femininity in the sense of being soft and being able to embrace the romance of what it feels like to be a woman. To me, part of womanness is the ability to sense in others' needs, to be able to connect, to be able to relate all of this while holding positions of power. Being a mother, being a daughter, being a sister are all very, very powerful places to be. And I just think that we have been hardened for so many reasons. And I started to sort of chip away at this hardening, just to see like what is under this hard exterior that has been built for one reason or the other by myself and by my circumstances and community and my framework of life. And in chipping away, a few things really stood out for me. One of the first things that really stood out for me is that I can't do shit if my nervous system is out of whack, right? I literally can't heal. I can't move forward. And I kept thinking, like, I'm in therapy, I'm journaling, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Why do I still feel hard? Why do I still feel angry? Why do I still feel grumpy? Like, what is happening that I'm, quote, doing all the right things, but there's no result, right? Yes, there was one small result, which was my life. I was still alive. So I will say that, that I'm not going to take that away from myself. That is important. But on the day to day, why is my life not feeling lighter? Why is it not feeling better? Why am I not being able to embrace all the things that I'm teaching myself, right? And as soon as I started doing nervous system work from this podcast that I love, I listened to, they kept talking about nervous system, nervous system, nervous system. And I knew vaguely what a nervous system was, but I was just not aware to what extent my life was being ran by my nervous system. So I did nervous system work. I learned how to center, how to ground, how to get out of fight or flight, how to get out of freeze or fawn. And in doing that work, I shit you not, my entire being changed. It really felt like the moments in life when you're like, oh my God, my genetics are shifting. I'm not passing this shit on to anybody. If I decide to have a child, these genes do not get passed to this kid. Something else that doing nervous system work did for me was nearly obliterated my anxiety, my daily anxiety. That type of anxiety where you wake up in the morning and you just feel like ass and you're scared and stuck and you can't describe necessarily why you're feeling this way, but you just know you don't want to get up. You don't want to be involved. You don't want to think about yourself. You don't want to think about others. You just want to crawl into a hole and fall back into your bed and you're just a nervous wreck. Stomach knots, chest tight, shoulders high, head hurts. All of that shit released. It was like this gentle, well, was it gentle? Yeah, I would say it's kind of gentle. A gentle surrender to the universe and a surrender to myself, right? Let me explain that maybe a little bit better. If you're like me and you are an emotional human and are deeply analytical, the analytical brain wants to override your body's knowing. So when you quiet down the analytics of your brain and you say, hey girl, love you, but you can relax now, your body is able to take a second to recalibrate. But it can't do that unless you're giving it the tools to be able to do it. So nervous system work and somatics gave me the tools to be able to work on my physical presentation of anxiety, depression, stress, etc., so that I could go back to my mind and say, hey girl, body calm, let's get to work on some shit. So basically, what I'm saying is we together on this podcast will be exploring some of that nervous system work and some of the questions to ask yourself, some of the things that help you relax and to be able to fully engage in yourself. And what does that feel like? What does that look like? How do we do it? And the answer, honestly, is that there's a million ways to do it. But I feel very called to share the way that I came to do it and how I came to understand myself and my nervous system. Something else that completely changed my life through nervous system work, it all kind of started there, to be honest. Like once I healed the nervous system, I was like, dang, okay, what else can I heal? And I mean on a deep cellular level. Something that came about was this authenticity challenge I did during this manifestation work that I do. And I started making choices through the lens of what my true, deep, core, authentic self wanted, needed. And this is like deep core, like born onto this earth, popping straight out the, I was going to say cooter, but this makes birth sound kind of yucky. Straight out the vessel of your mother and into the world. You were born with authenticity, right? Your soul, when it came to be, was already filled with a blueprint on how you want to or could or should live your life to your highest potential, right? And this is not like in an alpha, like let's go body biohack shit type of way. This is like just getting in touch with yourself, like deeply knowing yourself. I started to ask myself questions like, hey girl, do you actually like XYZ? Do you actually feel good when you spend time with XYZ? What do you want your life to look like? If society had no pressure on you, what would you do every day? Getting curious about who you are at your core is one of the keys to understanding. And the more you understand yourself, the better you're able to support yourself as well. Like, I know that I do not like to stay out late. I am just not a nighttime girly. And for years and years and years and years and years, I convinced myself that I needed to change and become a nighttime girly so that I could go participate in activities that I wanted to participate in. And I will say, I now say no a lot more. It does annoy people, but I don't care because it makes me feel good to stay at home and go to sleep at a reasonable hour. Balance, everybody. But I'll say something like drinking alcohol. Now, this one is divisive because people have a lot of opinions on alcohol. I do as well. I have a lot of addiction in my family and a lot of casual alcoholism. And alcohol was something that 100% in my younger years contributed to a lot of pain and suffering. I made poor decisions. I was taken advantage of. Just like bad shit. You know, I didn't drink in high school really. So when I went to college, I went buck wild. And I thought, oh, it's freedom. It's freedom. And it turned out that drinking alcohol and partying wasn't freedom. In fact, it was more like a cage. You know, you get stuck in this cycle. And one thing led to another, and I stopped drinking for a few years, right? Then I started dating someone who loved drinking, so I started drinking again. And then I realized, damn, I don't really like doing this, so I stopped drinking again. And this has kind of been a pattern of my life, right? Like flow in and out, which, okay, go with the flow. As I entered into my 30s, and maybe I would say like maybe 32, 33, like by now I was a very casual drinker. I was not binge drinking. It's just, I enjoyed getting a little tipsy every now and then because, like, honestly, being tipsy is kind of fun. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. But I realized that my body was really rejecting alcohol. And I'm like, why am I still drinking? If my body hates it, it makes my anxiety bad. And I'm like, damn, this is all performative. I am drinking because I want to feel like I'm part of the group. And uh, at the time, I was hanging out with a friend group who loves to drink, and, that's their choice. But it felt like I was only drinking so that I wouldn't feel othered from these people. Needless to say, I have not been drinking, and I'm trying to relearn how to be in community with people who are drinking without feeling like I need to judge either myself or them internally. Even I would never externally judge someone unless they're falling on the ground, and I'm like, girl, get it together, right? But anyway, I decided to stop drinking alcohol. And I do think that things got uncomfortable, and I felt like I was invited to less things and, a bit ostracized because I didn't drink. And I don't love going to bars because I can't really like talk to anyone there because it's loud and I can't hear shit. So I do think that that decision definitely changed the trajectory of like my social life. But luckily in Los Angeles, we have a plethora of events to attend where you don't need to drink alcohol. Anyway, that was such a long tangent. But the point was that doing something like that I knew was going to ostracize me still had tremendous benefits. And I think the fact that when you make a choice where you know that there's a risk that you're going to be othered or you're going to be different, and then you do the thing, it tells your subconscious and your soul that you are on your own side, that you have you. I got me. And that trust and knowing and listening to your own self is super powerful and super magnetic. Like there's, to me, nothing more powerful than trusting yourself and knowing yourself and knowing that everything is going to be okay. Around the same time, maybe like a month before, I decided I needed community. I deeply, deeply, deeply craved community. I wanted more female friends. I wanted more gay friends. I wanted more friends who like to do the things that I do. I love to journal. I love to vibe. I love to be on the beach and just soak up the sun and bask in the rays of, the universe's infinite light and touch sand and listen to the waves and just really like tune in. I love to vibe. I really don't know how else to describe it other than I just love a good vibe. Like if it's a chill, cool, cozy vibe and there's good music, I'm there. Sign me up. It feels good to my nervous system, feels good in my soul, feels good as my inner child to do all of these things. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna make my own shit. I can't find the community I want, so I'm going to create it. Little did I know how powerful that statement would be. I started a journal club and people showed up, and I could not believe that people showed up. I was like, oh my God, I think our first meeting, there were like 13 people there. And I was just taken by the universe. Like, wow, people want this thing that I want to share. And in that moment, I knew, okay, this is a new chapter of my story. This is where, ooh, I just got the goosies. This is where my life in the lens that I want it to be from starts. And yes, all the work that I'd been doing, although it felt like it wasn't working, it was working. And all the seeds were planted and I was watering and watering and watering that garden. And Journal Club was definitely a blossoming of a whole tree of opportunity for me. And the craziest part is people kept showing up and I kept showing up, and in me showing up and in the other people showing up, we built this beautiful space where you can come and you could be vulnerable and you can share your thoughts or not. You could just listen to other people's and you could take time for yourself to get to know yourself, to appreciate nature, to be on the beach, to be in community on the beach with people who have the same values that you have. Somehow, and this is so hilarious to me, every journal club meeting somehow ends up with, we should start a commune. So I'm like thinking like, damn, should we start a commune now? Because I don't know, it's feeling right. And I know like, there was one question I asked in Journal Club, like, what would your role be if we were to start our own community? And the answers were just abundant, and everyone really took time to think about like how they would contribute. And I'm like, yo, we can do this. Let's just raise enough money to purchase some land and let's get this thing going. But like, what is the line between commune and cult? Who knows? I mean, I could probably know if I looked it up in a book or something, but I just don't feel like doing that. So please, somebody let me know. What's the difference between a commune and a cult? Besides like the crazy leader and, you know, weird sex shit. Which there will be none of that. Well, not in a culty way. Journal Club is not the place, but I will say that you could find love at Journal Club. We did have a couple who met at Journal Club, and they're the cutest fucking Capricorn couple I've ever met in my life, filled with life and energy. And I just like legitimately cried when I found out that they met at Journal Club, because I just thought, man, that's so precious, and I love that. I love love. And I do think that's also a good indicator of the level of vulnerability that people are able to tap into when they are at Journal Club. Is like, okay, you're so open that you literally found love. You found love in a space that was not necessarily designed for that. Can it be for that? Sure. And I would love to do like a dating type of mixer with Journal Club. We'll get there someday. But I find that the spirit of showing up, sharing what you're good at, and having other people show up and share what they're good at is the best symbiotic relationship that you can build. And I am not exaggerating when I say that Journal Club has changed my life. And it's not because I started it, it's because the way that I've shown up every single month is in tune with who I am and who I want to be. I did realize maybe I think I've been doing it for like 9 weeks now. 9 weeks, geez. 9 months. I think this will be month 9 or 10. In the beginning, I definitely struggled to figure out like my formula of how my workflow, even like I realized I was doing shit way too last minute and it was making me so stressed, and then I wasn't feeling confident about what I was putting out. But the way that I generally work is wait till last minute and produce something really good, stress about it, and then it ends up being really good, but then I'm like stressed. So I'm trying to figure out how to work within my own workflow. Knowing the way that you work is super important, because then you can capitalize on how you already work without having to change everything about your homeostasis, right? So I realized which things I could leave till last minute that felt like downloads from the universe, more like energetics that just came up, and which things I needed to do ahead of time. And when I made that switch, there was definitely a switch in how I was showing up to Journal Club also, because I didn't have this immense pressure to get shit done and to like, oh no, is it going to be good enough? I just said, you know what? Whoever needs to hear this is going to hear it. Whatever it resonates with, whomever it resonates with, it's going to resonate with. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And I cannot micromanage the experience of every person who comes to Journal Club. So when you show up in these community spaces, you get what you give. And I choose to show up with an open mind and an open heart in hopes that others will feel the same way and will feel called to also show up in community and show up with an open mind and an open heart. And the response to that has been incredible. So if you're listening to this and you're like, Ash, I really want to go to Journal Club, the answer is yes. Please come to Journal Club. No cishet men allowed. I'm very sorry. If you are a gay man, come on down. Bi, whatever it may be. If you identify as queer in any way, or a straight woman, you are 100% allowed at Journal Club. And I particularly feel safer when I'm in community with queer people and women. So this is why I've chosen to not allow cishet men. I have considered doing like a special like cishet edition. So if you're a straight guy listening to this, and well, first of all, if you're a straight guy listening to this, like good for you. Thank you so much for being here. I know that this is not necessarily your audience, but I do think that there's some wisdom to be learned from the queer community for straights as well, because the straights sometimes I am like, oh my God, y'all are not okay. So I got so off track as usual. I'm like severely ADHD, so like we get off track. But I said, let's go back to the three things. So nervous system, authenticity. The last thing that really helped me, and this is under the authenticity umbrella, was embracing my neurodivergence and not working against it. So in the neurodivergent community, when you stop trying to assimilate into normie culture, we call that unmasking. So when you're taking off the mask of being normal and just like being your neurodivergent self, it's a very scary and vulnerable process because your ability to be rejected increases a lot. And people perceive neurodivergent people a lot of times as being weird and awkward and, you know, makes them uncomfortable, whatever it may be, whatever stories I'm telling myself and other stories that other neurodivergent people feel, they're all valid, but they're not all true, right? So I realized I was ADHD maybe 4 years ago. I think is when I got diagnosed 4 years ago. And I grew up thinking that I was just quirky and weird and I was so sensitive. And yes, I am quirky and weird and sensitive. But I just thought that there was something wrong with me. Like, why can I not understand people's sarcasm all the time? Why do I not get flirted? Sometimes people flirt with me and I'm like, are you being an asshole? Are you being nice? Like, I don't understand what's happening right now. And why can I not stick to one project and I have to have 17 projects? Why can I not watch a movie that's more than 2 hours? Why can I not finish one book and have to read 16 books at the same time? Like, these are all like trivial things, but they really impacted the way that I viewed myself and the way that I interacted with community. And like in heteronormative spaces, especially, I was like, yo, feel like I don't fit in, but I feel like I should fit in. So what the fuck is happening? So allowing myself to unmask and speak my needs as a neurodivergent person changed my life. Something that I deeply struggle with, here's an example, is hearing. I do not hear well. And the second I stop being able to hear people, I immediately go to La La Land space and tune out because I just can't hear people. And part of it, I swear, like I need to get my ears checked, but the other part of it definitely feels like it's ADHD, right? Like if you're in a loud space and you're trying to have a conversation with somebody and you have attention deficit hyperactive disorder, the amount of mental energy it takes to focus on an intimate conversation in a loud space is exhausting. So I started telling people, I can't hear you. Can you speak up? Could you repeat that? Can you come closer when you speak to me? Do you mind if I move into your space so I can hear you better? I don't feel like talking right now because it's too loud and I can't engage. Like simple things like just asking people to repeat something instead of just smiling and nodding has been so expansive for me. Also, like I have no shame. If I'm at a restaurant and the music is really fucking loud, I'll be like, can you turn it down, please? Like, I don't care. I will ask. Because you know what? Squeaky wheel gets the oil, one. And two, why do restaurants play music so loud? We're here at a table trying to share food and laughter and talk, and you've got fucking J-Lo blasting. Like, settle down, yo. So I don't know. Creed in the background. Ooh. But the point is, like, simply asking for the things that you need, or this changed my life too, as somebody who's a fixer. I'm a fixer. Like, you come with me a problem, I'm going to shoot out a solution. And not everybody wants a solution. Not everybody wants you to give your opinion. Something that deeply changed my relationships and the way that I communicate with others is, do you want my feedback or are you looking for just for me to listen? Like, what do you need from me as a friend, as a lover, as a partner, as a family member? Like, what is it that you're looking for right now? And that clarity is super important to my neurodivergent brain. I need clarity, straightforwardness. Do you like me? Yes, no. Do you want to hang out? Yes or no? Just the clarity is so helpful. There's a million ways that I've unmasked and a million ways that I could still unmask. And it is an ongoing journey. And I'm not perfect. You don't arrive to the destination of unmasked. I mean, you may. I might not know about it because I'm not there yet. But I don't think that authenticity, nervous system regulation, all these things have a destination. The destination is, are you happy? Do you feel happy? Do you feel in your body? Do you understand yourself? Are you curious about yourself? Are you continually trying to feel the love that you have for yourself? What is it about your life that you can change? What is it about your life that you can't change? What do you need to let go of? Is forgiveness important to you? Are you grateful? Like, being happy and being embodied takes effort. There's no pill. There's no magical prescription. There's no perfect combination of things you can do to feel 100% better. That's just not realistic. You need to find what works for you, put it all together, blend it up, and try shit out. Try it out. Try a static dance. Try going for a run, try meditation, try breath work, try cupping, try massage, try kink, try whatever it is that you feel an urge to try, blend it all up and figure out the right recipe for you. What works for you as an individual, not what the guru on Instagram is telling you, not what I'm telling you. I'm just giving you tools and things that you can try to feel better and to feel good in your body, in your brain. This is your one home that you will have for the rest of time. So get to know your home. What does home feel like? And if it's not how you want it to feel, how can we get it to be how you want it to feel? That's really where the treasure lies, is asking questions, figuring out how to get the answer that you need, and figuring out how to trust and love yourself. Your intuition is your best friend. I know that it is hard to sort through the shit, to filter out the crap, to get to a place where you feel like you trust your intuition. But I promise you, and I promise you, that with nervous system work, authenticity, and curiosity, your life could be easier, could be better, could be more fulfilling. You can feel better. It is something that is attainable for you. You are brave enough. You do have what it takes. And I'm just here to help shine a light on all that shit so that you could be the best version of you. I want people who I interact with to see them the way that I see them. And the way that I see most people is through the lens of love and through the lens of care and what people have gone through, and acknowledging that everyone's experiences are different. Boundaries are important. Curiosity is important. Authenticity is important. All of it's fucking important. But I want to say thank you for tuning in to listen to this. I hope you find whatever it is that you want to or needed to find. And this is just an intro. Here's a little bit about the format of how we're going to be going forward. So Journal Club meets once a month. If you can't go to it, you can't go to it. That's cool. If you can, love to have you. The next one is April 12th. I do 2 questions every Journal Club. So what we're going to do is we're going to start talking about the questions here on the podcast. And I really want to start sharing the stories of some of the people who come to Journal Club. It is filled with a beautiful array of human beings of all walks of life, all different stories, all different traumas, all different experiences, all different knowledge and wisdom, just so much juicy wisdom from the members of Journal Club. And I think it's worth sharing. So we're going to put out a podcast once every other week because, listen, like, that's all that's realistic for you, girl, right now. And we're going to explore some shit. I would love, love, love to engage with every single one of you. So if you listen to this podcast and you enjoyed it or something really stuck out to you, please let me know. I want to know. Like, I'm a busybody. Like, let me know. Give me the tea. I really appreciate everyone tuning in, and I cannot wait to continue to share with all of you. And if you feel deeply called and would like to talk about your story here, hit me up. You can reach us at Our Journal Club on Instagram, or at the More Myself Pod, or Ashley Dorr, that's me. Any of those places will do, preferably the More Myself Pod. We need to get that, up and going. But I just want to say thank you, and you're here for a reason, and your day is going to be a good day. I would ask you now to please take a big deep breath, hold, release with a sigh. Sigh that shit out. Let's do it again. Big in through your nose, hold at the top, release with a big sigh. I also would like to add that we will be doing somatic practices throughout the episodes, and I really encourage you to try these and do them. They work. And if they don't all work, that's okay. It's not a one size fits all practice. You take what you need, you leave what you don't need. And that's enough. So thank you all for tuning in. It's been great chatting, and I cannot wait to see what the rest of the year has to hold. It's like 2025, scary as shit, expansive as shit. It can be both. Let it be both. Thanks, guys.